we are now in our part 3 of our wine advert tutorial. All the complicated stuff is done. We can now actually get to the visualizing of it and the product rendering and the creative fun stuff of it. So I've gone and simulated the particles up until a certain point where the sheeter daemon stopped working, right there. Boom. Had a collision and then it went and sprayed all the way out, and I was not going to deal with that again. So I'm just going to use up to this point. I'm going to use the simulation up to this point, and so we have our particle mesh all simulated out, and then when we want to import them, we go plugins, mesh importer. I think I explained this in the last one, but boom, import it, set your scale to 0.1 since we're dividing our scale back down by 0.10, and here I'm using the wrong project file, like that. Cool. So our liquid and stuff is all done. Here you can see it's a mess and stuff, but we're going to use up until this point because it might take a while for me to fix that, and once I fix it I won't feel like recording anymore, so thought I would rather just not really bother with that and just record while I'm in the mood of recording. So we can get to our rendering. We'll bring in our Octane live viewer. We'll bring in a light source. Here you can see we have a very studio looking format over here, which is what I was going for. Just going to make sure this line is just above there. Why is it? Okay, so we don't need Realflow, so I'm just going to close that just to give my computer a bit more breathing room. In my render settings, I'm going to go path tracing 124, and I'll go 100 in my GI clamp. I'll go 2.2 gamma, natural response is 0, vignetting, and linear. Cool. So now I'm going to go and bring in an HDRI for our lighting. I'm going to go with kitchen. And then I'm going to start creating basic materials. So the background, we'll go with a diffuse material. Boom, we'll call this floor. And inside my viewport camera, I actually want to disable textures. So we'll go floor. And here I'll just go for a simple gradient. I haven't figured out how to get rid of this fringing, but for now we'll just go with it. So here I'm going to adjust this gradient. I'm going to go radial, no, circular, and I'm just going to adjust the square, and then maybe I can go and invert the knots. No. Okay, I'll just do it this way. I'll just go change this to a, change this to a red. Here I'll go black. Cool. And here we can just push these until we get it in the right spot. Maybe something like that. So I'm going to use my actual image as reference. And then here I can probably push this out slightly like that. Here I can make this a slightly darker black so it's not too intense. Like so. Cool. I should probably push this. Oh, this is going up and down, and this is going left and right. Like so. Cool. So I just want to zoom out slightly, sorry. And add in a protection tag. And then what we can do is we can create a specular material. This will be our glass. Well, let's do the bottle first. Bottle. And we can apply that to our bottle here, bottle render. We can change that to cubic. And here we will go for 1.52 index, and then inside our transmit, forgot something. All our normals are the wrong way around, I believe, if I remember. So I'm just going to select all of these. I'm going to solo it and make a double check to make sure. Yes, so all of them are blue. So we want to right click, reverse normals. Now the normals all the right way around. We'll do the same with our cork. Let's go here and take a look. All these normals are the right way around, so we can leave that. Go to our glass render. And we can take a look here as well. All these normals are the wrong way around. Right click, reverse normal, and now our normal maps and stuff will all be the right way around, which will make sure our render is rendering correctly. So now you can see we have our glass bottle. I actually forgot something. The texturing of this wine bottle over here. It has a branding thing at the front, and I completely forgot about that, so we'll do that now. It is the texturing part of the tutorial, so I guess that's the right time to do it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to select these faces here. Let's turn off this X-ray mode. Off. Select these faces here. See here, even if we smooth it, it doesn't really affect it. We can go mesh, commands, split, and then here we can just bring them into the same subdivision surface 2, and then here we want to go make sure all of these are 2 as well. Cool. And then this we can take, and we can take all the faces and we can extrude it slightly, very slightly. So maybe here I go like so, very slightly. So it's just coming out the bottle, and it's not on the bottle. Cool. So this will be our face for our actual graphics. So we'll dive into Photoshop now. I think it's best to do this part first, because this will be not the most difficult, but the most pressing, the most important part to do first. The rest is just minor texturing differences. So this thing here is 7.75 centimeters. If I go times that by pi, times pi 24. So if I go into my Photoshop and go 24, and then the height is 10, 24 by 10, and then here I can go okay, and then here I can go 2048. Boom. So now we have our plane for our texture to sit. Here I'll go and create now I'm going off my wine model that I have in front of me, so you can obviously go off whatever you're doing, but here I'll go and I think I'll actually get all the details in as well in this tutorial, so I'm not going to rush this one as well. I'm going to make sure that I get all the nice details in and make sure that I really dive deep into texturing instead of rushing through this one. So this will probably be another long tutorial. So here I have this shape going, my wine bottle, and then if I just go and decrease the size, I'll just make it slightly around the height. Maybe I can make it exactly the height there. Make it slightly less because I might want to create a normal map out of this, so I'll just make it a bit smaller. And then here I'll duplicate it, and then I'll create this line that I have on mine. And then in here I can go and click stroke, make this smaller. And here I can go and Google gold hex, gold color hex. No, gold color hex. Metallic gold, like so. And then here I can go, just make it around the same size, probably around 4, like that. Go save this, and we'll save this as Malot. I forgot what this is called. Wine Malot tutorial. Wine Malot tutorial. Cool. And I'm gonna go off the original file because that one was done really well, so I might as well just sort of imitate it or copy it directly, but I'm not going to just drag everything in. I just don't want to go searching for all the fonts and stuff all over again when I don't need to. So if I take a look, here we're using Durbanville Hills, not serif. So if here I go and type, I'll do my best not to just drag everything in and redo it, but I'm going to be using the same properties. So here I'll go Durbanville has two L's, hills, like so, and then it was 190. That doesn't look right. What's the size of this? See, the size is different to the one I have. Maybe if I go and make this 2048. So here I believe I may have gotten the size of this graphic wrong. I think I'm not sure. I think I made a calculation error, so I'm just gonna go and copy the same thing over so that we get the right look in the end. I do apologize about this part. I've gotten the calculation wrong, and I think it will take a bit of time to make sure that the calculation is right, so I'm not going to do that in this tutorial, but I'm sure you can Google how to flatten out an object for your texture in Photoshop, so shouldn't be that big of an issue. So here I'll go 190. And it looks like this here should be auto-corrected. And then I think this should be a bit closer. So here if I go 72, and then I just increase that. Something like that. I can make sure this is centered nicely. And then I'll push this down there. Cool. Then we need this other text here, so I'm going Arial Bold 41. So here I'll go, just hide this fill. Here I'll go Durbanville, South Africa, and I was using Arial Bold, and the size was 40. Cool, and I believe this doesn't actually need that, but it does need that, so I'll just go and center these nicely. And there is something wrong. Why does it look so stretched? Arial Bold 41. Ah, this text stretching here. So make that 100, and then it all should be fine. And then if I just go and copy this gold color over here, and then I can go and paste it in the text over here. Boom. And then here I can go copy that, and then I actually have a pinotage in front of me, but I will be going with them a lot just to keep it the same as the advertised thumbnail and stuff like that. So we're going with them a lot. 75, and then this purplish color. 66335D is the hex code. So 65 was it? 75. So here we'll go 75, and then this 2016 is 50. So here I'll go enter 50. No, 2016, and then 50 here. Cool. Now the image, this bottom image here, I found this on Google. I couldn't find the original photo that's on the wine bottle, so I went and just took a different one. And then what I did is I went into the filter gallery, because this is the original image. without any effects and stuff. And I actually went and here you'll see if I disable this mask, this is the original image that we have. This is straight off Google. I went and created a mask. I just cut out the sky, enable the mask. Now you have a cutout sky. And then here's the image of the cutout sky. And then I went and added a hue and saturation to decrease the saturation. And I also colorized it to give it this brownish color. So all the colors are one tonal color. And that's what I'm sort of getting in front of me on here. It's a bit more colored on the actual original one, but I guess we don't need to be perfect. And then I went into the filter gallery, and then I went and selected texturizer, and I got this nice texture type of effect to get on my image over here, and then that's how I ended up with that. So I don't need to go and redo that here. I'll just go and drag this in because that'll take some time, and it's just unnecessary time for your the tutorial. So yeah, I'm just gonna go and readjust it to the actual object size, or I could just I'll just readjust it this way, like so. And here I can go clip it onto this, like so. Maybe I want to pump up the fill again and just adjust these slightly. That should be like that, and then maybe I'll move this up and move that up, and then move that up like so, and then I can probably move this down like so. Those actually look super close. And then here's the logo. I got this off Google as well. Yeah, I went and created a mask to cut that out, and then boom, pop it in here. Let's go and pop that in the center, like so. So here we have our text, our logo, our image, and then this ring here, and then that part. So if I go and save this, I forgot about that. There's this text at the bottom here of my thing. Nice little detail I added in. So I'm just gonna go and add that in. I think I'll add that in the text folder as well. Cool. So we have our text, and it's very similar. It's not perfect, obviously. I don't have the time to go and make it look perfect, but it's very similar. So cool. So now we will dive back into Cinema 4D, and we will solo this bottle, and we'll take a look at this. The bottle itself, I think I'll go for a transmission, and I'll go into a greenish color, like so. And we can adjust the intensity and stuff of this once we get all our stuff, once we get everything in the scene all colliding together and all interacting with each other. But for now, we will just keep it like this. And I actually didn't do that red piece at the top, but I think they'll add in an extra 20 minutes, which is not necessary. But so we'll just keep it like this for now. Here I'll bring in a glossy material, and we'll call this graphic. This will be the graphic for our advertisement. So we'll just go and boom. So here I'll call this graphic. I'll do the same here. Cool. And in here I'll bring in the Photoshop file we just made. I'll change this to cylindrical, and then I'll go right click, fit to object, and then yes. Cool. So now everything's sitting perfectly. So if I go into my original camera, it's actually all sitting quite nicely over there. So how do we want to do this is the question. I think what we want to do is we want to go copy. No. I'm going to go copy and paste this in the opacity for now. And we can go, did I not do this correctly? Image texture, and then import that again. Sorry about this. And paste in our opacity. I keep hitting the wrong buttons. Cool. Now if I go alpha, it should look fine. So I'll do that for now. And then, so I'm going to assume that this file is completely fine. We're not going to touch it again. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to create a specular map for it. And I'm going to duplicate this. Just let this thing register that. Cool. And I'll call this tutorial spec. And inside here, I will get rid, I'll actually go solid color. And what I'll do is I'll bring in let's get rid of this. We'll get rid of the image. I'll get rid of the fill. And then I think that's fine. So we're going to put all this inside a group and then pin it on like that. This will be our specular map, and so we'll be using this to define the reflective surfaces. And actually this is wrong, because I want all of this to affect the gold pieces of this over here. Yeah, so that should be gold. I don't know why it's... Okay, I did make a mistake here, so I should be affecting everything but the black pieces. So to make this easier for you, so you can see what I'm talking about, this logo part here should be gold as well. It shouldn't be black. So if I go here and change this to gold, just so you guys can see what I'm talking about, that's what it should look like. Doesn't really matter in this one, but I'm just doing that for visual purposes. So now here, everything that's gold in here, let me just go and update it here. Everything that's gold in here should be showing when I do that. So that means I want to get rid of the text. Not all the text though. We want to get rid of that for those numbers down there. We want to get rid of the lot. We want to get rid of Durbanville Hills. So everything that's gold in this image should be black. And now if I go into Octane, and if I bring in a mix material, I go and replace that. I put the graphic at the bottom, and I create a new glossy material and call this gold. 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 And then here I can actually go and let's copy this. So hue 46. Let's go 7283, 7283. So here there should be 7283. Cool. So we put the gold at the top, and then to drive that we will use our specular map. Specular map is just what I call it. Just makes things easier for me. Call out spec, drive that in. So now if I go here and invert it, because my things are the wrong way around, or you can go in here and go invert and then save it. And here if I go and update it, done. So now if I go and change this gold color to a red, for example, all the things that were gold will change to red. And what that allows me to do is I can go and change the properties of this gold, and I can go and make it look more like an actual gold strip, and without affecting the rest of the image. So here I can go and change this index to 5, and I can see it's a lot more reflective. I can give it a bit of a blurriness if I want, and it's only affecting this, it's not affecting the rest of the images, which is exactly what we want. So I can go here and make this a more of a goldish color as well. Oh, I'm doing that wrong. That should be in the specular, sorry. So I can go and make this more of a goldish color as well. Now we're getting a gold reflection instead of a white one, which is what we want. It's a lot more realistic. So here I should probably turn this down to 50%. Now it's starting to look a lot more realistic. So if I increase this to 8, what will happen? Cool. So now we're getting a bit more of a gold reflection. So I can go increase this to 0.2, 0.3. Now this looks a lot more like gold. You can see now if we change our lighting, if you look at the logo here, you'll sort of see it's starting to affect the way this logo looks, which is exactly what we want. That looks perfect. So what I can now do is I can create a normal map out of this. The way I'll do that is I'll go save as, and then here I'll go NRM, and then here I'll just pop all this. This isn't exactly accurate, but it doesn't have to be, who cares. So I'll go and pop this all inside a smart object, and then here I'll go 3D, generate normal map, and I don't want to just leave it to the default settings. I'm going to actually make it look a lot more sharper. So this is too smooth for me. I want it to be very smart, very sharp. So what I'll do is I'll drop this down to 0, and make that 100. That's not what I wanted, is it? No. No. No, so maybe this should be 100, and that should be, okay, now it's looking the way I want. So if I click OK, boom, we have our normal map. It all looks great. So if I go into here, and if I go into the graphic, I can go and copy the diffuse, paste it in the normal, paste it in the normal, and then I can just go and replace that with a normal map. Here we have a normal map, we can go and invert it, and if I turn that up to 5, you can see that we have our bumps here. So our normal map is working quite well, it's quite effective, and we have a bit of that in the original, in my reference over here that I have in front of me. Probably like 4 there, 3, so cool. So for the graphic, I think that's mostly done. We haven't gotten to adding all the overlaid effects and stuff yet. The cork, this part looks like a very odd cork, but you can obviously do what you want with it. Here I'll go and create a glossy material and call it cork. I just used a wood texture from polygon.com. I found this is very simple to use, so my lips are so dry. I've been recording all the tutorials at the same time, like part 1, part 2, part 3, so I've been talking for probably nearly 2 hours now straight. So that's great stuff. And my lips are getting so dry because all the air is just blowing out and drying them out. So here I'm using a polygon texture. I can just decrease that size down to 25. I can go copy, paste in the normal map. And I think that looks okay. I'll go and paste in the specular and the glossy as well. Then let me change the diffuse and maybe see how that looks. Okay, I think that looks a bit more like a corkscrew. Okay, that looks quite a bit better. So if here I go into my bump map, I can bring in some scratch textures over here. Let's see, where's this thing? Surface imperfections, we can go with scratches mixed. UV transform, just bring down that scale and I'll just crank this up and see what this looks like. Okay, that texture is not going to work. We will go with this one. I'm a bit confused as to why. Oh, that scale, that's why. So I'll just change my projection to box and then I'll scale it down so things are a bit easier to visualize and manage. I can decrease that down to 5 and can't find a nice texture to use. Let's just try this one more time. Okay, now it's starting to look a bit better. So here if I go and decrease this down, something like that maybe. Cool, so now it's starting to look like a corkscrew. So that's what our bottle looks like now. And our glass, we will create a new material and we'll call this glass. And we will go and apply that cubic. We don't need to do much with this, we can just change this to 1.52. Now for all our specular materials, we'll click fake shadows, just so light goes through it and there's nothing weird going on in the final render. And we will go back into our scene and take an overall look of what our scene looks like now. I forgot about the liquid. So we'll just bring in our liquid into our viewer here. We'll create a new material called this liquid, specular material, fake shadows, and apply that to our liquid. We don't need to do anything there because that's advanced stuff. We don't need to go, we won't do any thing that needs to change the projection. So here we will change this, we'll change the transmission to more of a reddish color to get that sort of wineish red color. And here what we'll actually do is decrease the saturation. We can actually go red. .25. And then we can go into our medium and create a scattering medium. Probably go like 50. And in here I'll probably increase this up to 50 again, and then maybe 80. I don't have actual wine to look at right now, so I'm just going off eyesight. Depends on how accurate you want to be with your wine. You can Google your own references, but I guess it's good enough. Yeah, cool. So now if you pop everything back in, that's the kind of look that we're getting. I'm just gonna turn this bottle slightly to the side. Cool. That's the basic, the bulk of it done. Now I guess we can just add in some slight imperfections and stuff, and then the rest is basic creative choices. So we can add in some slight imperfections and stuff like that, and then we will pretty much be done. So here what we will do is we will create a mix material and we'll put our bottle inside there. We'll replace this with our bottle texture over there. We will create a diffuse material and we'll call this bottle dirt or dirt bottle. So it's a bit easier to read down there, like that. And we'll create a image texture. We'll bring in our live viewer. And then here we will go and select a fingerprint texture. Here I think I'll solo the bottle all on its own, just so it's a bit less to render. And we can start taking a look at the scale of this whole thing. So here I'll change the projection to box, and then here I'll go UV transform, and I'll go 0.1. Fingerprints all look nice, so I can decrease this down to 1, decrease this down to 0.1. And here I can go into my node editor and I'll bring in another one. So here I'll go image texture. I'll go add. And then here I'll go and bring in dirt wipes. So I'll go UV transform, 0.1. It's already set to cubic over here, I believe, so I don't need to go and do all the projection stuff. It's a habit of me to do projections with things like fingerprints and stuff like that, but with things like dirt, I don't really worry as much about it. So I'll just go and decrease this amount to 0.2 or 0.1. We want this to be very subtle, because with product renders and stuff, you want the realism there, but you don't want it to be so bad that it just makes your bottle look dirty and ugly. So I think I'll go 0.05. Or is this actually, no, let's go 0.05 and then with our fingerprints we'll do the same. So when your final render is done, it should be slightly there, but not too much to make your whole bottle look like crap. So we can go and solo the whole thing again and take a look. Cool. For the graphic, I think what we can do is we can go and bring in a mix shader, replace the graphic, and we can put the graphic at the bottom there, and we can go and create this diffuse material, and we'll call this dirt graphic. Put that up top, and then here we can go with some liquid stains. So here I'll go and choose this one. Then I'll go for a nice reddish wine kind of color. So, ooh, that's an issue. I'm not too sure what to do about that. Okay, so I'm gonna try my best to get rid of this. I don't really know how to, but I will try my best right now. I'll try and attempt and see maybe if this will work. So all of this is a mess right now, but we will. I want to see if this works. I haven't really dealt with this issue before. Well, I've had this issue before, I just haven't really tried to deal with it. So maybe if I bring in our actual texture, our actual graphic here, the original one, and then change it to alpha, maybe I can subtract this over here somehow. So let's just see if this works. Like so. That worked. I'm amazed. Okay, but I feel like the colors are the wrong way around, so let me just decrease this opacity and see if maybe I've done something wrong here. Let's go and invert this and then go 25. No. Let's go and change this to normal. No, that won't work. Maybe if I go and invert that. No, we don't want that to happen. I'm not too sure what to do. Let's try and swap these things around and see. Now it's subtracting that way. So let's just go here and replace these 2 points here. And then maybe I'll try and figure this out. Okay, so I used a multiply node instead of subtract. I literally just replaced the multiply node with the subtract, and now it's working fine. There's no issues anymore. So here you can see we can decrease this or increase it, and that's completely fine. So now we have our wine stains. I think I want something a bit more smudged. Maybe something like that. Looks a bit like blood though. So maybe instead of going for wine red, I'll go for a dirt color, so it doesn't look like there's blood on the bottle. So now it looks like it's slightly dirty. We could also add some fingerprints on that. I think that would be quite nice. The actual this part here shouldn't be so reflective, so I'll go and just add some roughness on there. Looking at my reference now, and I've just realized that. So maybe I'll go 0.4 like that. And then here I'll just decrease the dirt graphic to 2. And then I'll go and add in a fingerprint texture. I think I should do it this way. Like so. Add. Boom. Boom. Oops. Boom. And then there, and then there. So here I should go and add in a fingerprint texture in here. So if I increase this up to 25, go to my UV transform, and then I can sort of just play around with this until we get a nice position. Something like that, maybe. And I can drop that down to 1. Let's go for 2. take a look. Cool. So I think that's too much actually. Let's go for 1 instead. I think in the final render it'll look a bit better. So now you're seeing everything is actually turning out to be quite nice. It all looks pretty brilliant, if I must say. I'm proud of myself. Okay. This normal map is too strong, so I'm just going to decrease this to 2. And then the glass. So where's this thing? Glass render. So we'll create a mix material. Do the same and replace this. And then here I'll put the glass at the bottom. I'll put a diffuse at the top. And then like that. And here I'll call this dirt glass. I had a strange feeling that I wasn't recording right now and I nearly freaked out. Okay. So here I'll create a image texture. And we'll go for dirt wipes again. So increase that, and then here we can go into our UV mapping and go 0.1. Maybe decrease that down to 5. Let me just make sure that this is on cubic. Yes, it is. Cool. So here I'll go 1, and then I'll also add in some fingerprints as well. So here I'll go add in a add. And then I'll add in the image texture at the bottom, like so, and then fingerprints. I should really test putting putting fingerprints inside the roughness channel. I haven't done that in a while, and that could give some cool effects if done properly. So here if I go 0.1. I think the fingerprints are actually looking quite nice. So here can I drop these effects down, because these effects can really make your glass look like shite. So I'm gonna try and reduce these down by quite a bit. Over here I'll go, I'll take a look. Let's bring in our floor as well, because that will make a difference in our final render. So bring in our floor and see what the glass looks like. Okay, so we need to reduce the fingerprints down. Maybe 0.2, and the dirt needs to go down to 0.1. Take another look and see. Okay, we need to reduce this down even more. I think here I'll go 0.1, and let's take another look and see. Let's just check our render settings. Cool. I think it's still making our glass look a bit bad, so I'm just going to go 0.05. I'll just do the same for that. Then we'll drag everything in and take a look at what our final looks like. Got a very nice studio-like looking render going. And it would serve nicely for an advertisement, and that's what I'm actually using for my thumbnail. You can see if I take a look at the two, they look very similar. Very, very similar. Here I just put that, I took the cork out and I put it on the floor. I thought that would be a cooler look. And I guess all you have to do in the end is, we don't need to go into After Effects because that's just slight color grading stuff, and that's pretty much just slightly reducing saturation or turning up contrast or slightly increasing brightness. It's all stuff that it's not necessary. So here I'll go and increase the specular to 100. I'll just make sure that you don't have any black spots in your glass and stuff that doesn't need to be there, and maybe you want to change this down to the lowest point as well if you're having some troubles with your glass, but I don't think I am. But that's pretty much all for this tutorial. I think it was a nice introduction to a Realflow series that I might start. Might start doing some Realflow tutorials, which would be quite nice, and it's a nice blend of Octane as well. So the Octane fans can join into the fun as well, and I think it was a really nice, well done tutorial. So thank you guys for your support. Once again, this is the 3-part tutorial of a wine tutorial. I mean, 3-part videos of wine tutorial, and yeah, hope this goes very well. This was actually turned out a lot better. If you have any questions, most of them will probably happen to do with Realflow, because that plugin is painful. But if you have any questions, you can always ask. I'm always available to answer them. But if you have any troubles with Realflow, I do apologize, because it is a complicated program. Yeah, I think that went really well. Thank you guys once again for watching, and I will see you on my next tutorials. Have a good day, and goodbye.